our next guest wants to make sure women everywhere have a millionaire mentality. Rachel Rodgers was an attorney working long hours with little work-life balance just a few years ago. Then she decided to become an entrepreneur using her law experience to build her business. Now she is a multi-millionaire and CEO of Hello7, where she serves as a business coach helping other female entrepreneurs, especially women of color, figure out how to become millionaires too. Rachel has a new book. It is called We Should All Be Millionaires, where she details a realistic and achievable step-by-step path to become a millionaire within the next 3 years. 3 años, that's it. Welcome to the show, Rachel Rodgers. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Before we do anything, what was your first job?
My first job was a cashier at a grocery store, and I loved it. And it makes sense, right? Counting money. That's what I did.
That's right. That's right. That's right. We were all just talking about our first jobs, and we are very far from where our first jobs were. Before we get to the book, I want to talk a little bit about Hello7. For those who don't know it, what is it, and how did you start it?
Yes. So I started Hello7 because I looked at the stats and found that 80%, almost 80% of women entrepreneurs that start businesses never make more than $50,000 in annual revenue. And from that, they have to pay their salaries, pay the team, pay taxes, pay business expenses. It's not realistic. And so I really wanted to create a pathway for women entrepreneurs to make millions. Only 2% of women entrepreneurs ever make over $1 million. And I wanted to change that. And so I decided to start Hello7 so we could focus on women and other marginalized folks and help them build wealth.
I love this because, you know, I've also been an entrepreneur in a sidebar life of mine. And I know that women of color, we have to start so far behind everyone else. And what I really appreciate about this book is that you really need to rethink the way you think. You have to have this mindset of wealth. How do we do that when, as women, we are balancing everything else under the sun?
Yes. And so here it starts with the stories we tell ourselves, right? A lot of us grew up with working class parents. We saw our parents struggle with money. And so we take on that struggle and we have this idea that making money is hard, right? This will be a challenge. I'm not good with money as a woman is a story that we tell ourselves. And so it starts with unpacking those stories and starting to tell a new story. Because the truth of the matter is that statistics show that women are better investors than men. Statistics show that when venture capitalists back a woman-owned business versus a male-owned business, they actually see a higher return. So women are actually great at business. We're great at managing money. And I think we just need the confidence to go along with it. I think we're getting messages from society, you know, cut the lattes, cut coupons, right? And men are told, invest. And every ad has a picture of a lion, right? Like, and women don't get those messages.
Although, honey child, listen, I'm still going to cut my coupons. I will invest, but I will still cut my coupons. Talk to us about the book. I keep rereading certain passages because unlike other books, you really give concrete detail. Like you say what you should do, what you shouldn't do. Like just because you want to start a business doesn't mean you have to know what the end result is. You don't need a newsletter. You don't need a business card or a fancy, you know, contact list. So that, I think, leads us to this mentality of getting yourself out of mental money jail. So tell us what tips we can really use.
Yes. Listen, this book is incredibly practical because I grew up on the streets of Flushing, Queens.
Okay. Go Mets. Go Mets.
Yes, go Mets. Exactly. And so I needed practical tools. I didn't have access to capital. Women are less likely to get loans, especially if you're a woman of color. And so I need real practical steps, right? And that's what I had to figure out on my own. And I don't want other women to have to do that. And so the steps in this book really talk about, let's start with the numbers, right? Sometimes we think, oh, I need to be a multimillionaire to live the way that I want to live. Maybe not. If you want to send your kids to private school, if you want to buy a nicer home, if you want to be able to give to charity or take care of your mom, which is something that I wanted to do, right? Do the math. So I think it starts with running the actual numbers. How much does the lifestyle and the things that you want to do actually cost? And you might find like, okay, I need to make another 5K a month or another 10K a month. Okay, great. Now let's actually brainstorm some steps. What could we do? What strategies do we have? Can we increase our salaries? And I give a guide for how to negotiate your salary in this book. Can we start a side hustle, right? Can we start speaking? Are there other opportunities? And it's really capitalizing on your natural talents. I used to get in trouble all the time at PS24, where I went to elementary school. I got in trouble all the time for talking too much. Guess who gets paid to talk now, right?
Right,
So
you.
we have natural talents and abilities that we can use to increase our earning potential. So figure out what those numbers are and then start brainstorming some ideas on how you could start to close that gap.
And I think part of that brainstorming is when you start with a thought and it's kind of a negative thought and you say
Yes.
this, figure out where that thought comes from and then change
Yes.
it. If you could just run down that for us, please.
Yes, yes. And so there's a guide to doing what I call thought work, which is something that was created like, life coaches like Martha Beck, who are out there in the world, who was made famous by Oprah, right? And so it's about really retraining our brain to think positive thoughts. I want us to talk so sweetly to each other. Like, I mean, and to ourselves, right? Because I think what we do is we say like, oh, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not good with money. Let's tell ourselves a new story. Let's train our brains to think differently. And it really does work. I used to be the worst in my head, right? I was the meanest girl to myself. And I started doing this thought work on a regular basis. And after a while, I just stopped thinking those thoughts. It's amazing how much it actually works. So there's a guide to exactly how to do that in this book. And I think it starts with that. That is the first chapter because it's the first thing we need to do.
Rachel, it has been such a pleasure talking to you. From Flushing, Queens to
Yes.
a ranch with your 3 little babies, the ranch you bought with your own damn money. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Continued success. Listen, let's be physically distanced and share some champagne and talk about all our successes. And
Yes.
along the way, pick up her book if you want to learn more.